Okie show.
So we're here with Alexander MacNicoll. How are you, sir?
Hello. I'm
Skyping
good.
from Albuquerque, New Mexico,
from a cardio room in Albuquerque.
with the friggin'
Yeah.
coolest rock climbing gym of all time. That's
Yep.
friggin' awesome.
Shout out to Stone Age Climbing Gym in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Sponsoring this podcast.
That's right.
This week's episode.
We're gonna
Is
have
it
to
an
give him a
episode?
call and be like, you guys, unfortunately, you owe us some money. So
Yeah.
no, you didn't.
Yeah.
We're gonna send
Yeah.
all of our guests to there just to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's a cool place. Albuquerque's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are you from originally? Like, where is your main place of residence?
Frenchtown, New Jersey.
Frenchtown, New Jersey. So
Yep.
do you do a lot of work kind of in the New York area?
No, I don't. I moved to Los Angeles about like back in 2013. I'm not good at math, but I think it was 6 years.
Huh.
And I've worked out there, and I actually have never worked in New York. But I hope to work in New York, and you know, it'd be fun to shoot in New Jersey too. But I've actually never worked over there. So
See, that's so
Yeah.
interesting. We're going to talk a little bit about just kind of the main point of today's conversation. We're talking about big budget stuff versus kind of micro budget, smaller budget stuff.
yeah,
And so many actors that I've talked to, they don't necessarily work where they live. There's a
right.
lot of people that live locally here in Oklahoma that do a ton of work out in Oklahoma or out in
Sure.
California, out in
Yeah.
Albuquerque is a freaking huge hub, Georgia,
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before we go any further, we got to talk about Sleeping in Plastic, because
Oh yeah.
Sleeping in Plastic is coming out,
That's right.
and you are the
Finally.
main star. We shot
Yeah.
this. Golly, we shot this thing last year.
Was it last? I thought it was like 10 years ago. It feels like
Feels like an eternity.
I thought it was like maybe 2017 or something like that. When did we shoot that?
I don't know, man. It's been forever. You're probably right. It's probably more than a year.
It was fall of 2017, if I recall. It was right around this time back in 2017.
Jeez,
Yeah.
it
yeah.
takes forever.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that
So-
was the thing. So, speaking about budgets, you know, when you have a low budget, yeah, it takes a while. You know, you gotta grind. You got a lot of people working their butt off, and it takes time. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it takes a little longer.
So tell us a little bit about Sleeping in Plastic, just for the audience that has no idea
Uh,
the movie that we're talking about. By the time this podcast does come out, it will be out, and people can be like, they listen to this episode and they'll be like, I've got to
Yeah.
watch this movie.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the
The-
movie about?
Well, if I recall correctly, because this was about, like we said, years ago.
Forever.
It's basically it follows a bunch of little storylines, but I guess the main storyline is a high school wrestler who, if he's from a small sleepy town, and his life kind of gets uprooted and turned upside down because he kind of falls in love with an escort and kind of becomes her personal driver in a way, and he kind of gets pulled into this little underbelly of chaos that happens, and I think, I mean, I think it takes place in Texas is the idea, but as we know, as insiders, we shot in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
but it's meant to kind of be anywhere, kind of small town USA, Midwest type of feel. So, but there's a bunch of little characters that are very quirky. It's a very I don't know. For me, it was like a very like lucid feel to it. The whole script is very kind of like had this like dream / nightmare feel to it. So yeah,
I can't
Yeah.
wait to see, because at this point we haven't gotten to see the final cut yet.
same.
But-
yeah, I haven't.
Man, I remember whenever we were shooting it, there's like it's a dark drama,
Yeah,
suspenseful
thriller.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to compare it to. It kind of it
Yeah.
had like
Sounds a little bit just from listening, a little bit blue velvety or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm like this kind of that dream like state.
Yeah, it's definitely got that dark, dreamy feel to it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like it's like vignette style almost is what I remember. It's so the dream thing is kind of like, yeah, exactly, like just a bunch of little vignettes basically throughout the script of like, you know, these little kind of like how when we dream and we wake up and then we dream and we go back to sleep. You know, it's like we have these little, you know, snippets. So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
yeah.
You know what it
hopefully-
reminds me
hopefully
of?
People like it.
I'm
What?
playing Nick here got me playing the video game Heavy Rain on PS3.
I've never played
And
it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's what this movie reminds me of right now.
Oh,
just because
shit.
it's on the brain.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
very dramatic. There's hookers and there's
Yeah.
murder and
Yeah.
there's rapishness.
I've gotten a few
Yeah.
like texts from Ryan of just like this game.
This my son died.
Oh no. It sounds epic.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta check it out. I have Red Dead Redemption. That's what I've been playing on PlayStation.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It took me like 5 years to finish that game.
Oh, it's never ending. It's never ending. Yeah, but it's fun. Yeah.
So what was it like shooting this movie in Oklahoma? Have you ever shot anything in Oklahoma before that?
I had never even been to Oklahoma before that.
Really?
Time in Oklahoma. Yeah, it was. But it was fun. Yeah, Oklahoma had a lot to offer. It was like, we had a lot of different landscapes or backdrops or environments, right there. And then, yeah, it was cool, man. It definitely had. It was funny because Oklahoma City, has it's like a little pocket. It's like a little city, and then everywhere else was very. Barren's the wrong word.
Barren.
But you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like, it had a bit of a desolate vibe to it, and maybe desolate's it's a bit dramatic and extreme. It wasn't desolate, like there's like civilization and stuff. But yeah, man, like the small towns, just little pockets of little small towns and a lot of open area, a lot of space. So it was cool though. Yeah.
We were shooting out in the Choctaw. I'm trying to think of all the places that we shot at because we were in the Choctaw area.
Yeah, Hara.
Which was the Hara area. Hara
area.
And a lot of meth out there.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
How was the meth on the shoot, guys?
Well, we were shooting. There were a lot of scenes that happened inside a trailer park, and it was actually kind of funny because I feel bad for folks that are from out of state that come to our amazing state, and then they see we go into the trailer park and there's just a giant Confederate flag on one of the windows of the trailers. The locals living there.
Yeah, shame on them.
Because the South will rise again, I guess.
Yeah, that's what they say. But that was unfortunate. But that's everywhere, man. That's like, and I mean, I went to high school in a very small town area, and like we had kids with Confederate flags on their trucks, and I was like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you? You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Yeah. So that's just small-minded folks kind of. It's tough. Yeah. But they're
what was your favorite thing about? Because you were here for about a month. What was your favorite thing about Oklahoma?
You know what? I loved Empire Pizza.
Nice.
No. I just kidding. I did love it though. But I loved the industrial kind of area over there was really cool. That's where I was staying while I was there. Do you call it the industrial area? What's that place called? The auto area with the old.
Yeah, I call that the industrial area.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like near Bricktown ish.
Yeah.
It was like kind of. Yeah, it was right by the stadium too. It was kind of walking distance to the basketball stadium. Mm-hmm. What's that area called? What's that area?
I think that is. Like
I think it's
the Automobile Alley. Like it's like
Automobile Alley. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, like they had the little plant shop cafe there. That was really nice. The Okay, yeah, I think that was delicious. Shout out to Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think that was what it was called. It was a really nice little plant and cafe shop. It was really cool. No, I really liked the Plaza District was fun. I didn't really venture out to a lot of places. I think I went out to Norman for a little bit for an excursion. And then I also went out to where they were shooting another movie called you probably worked on it, or I feel like a lot of the crew worked on it. And now I'm blanking on the name. Jacqueline Taboni was in it, and there was two brothers that made the film. What was that called? Remember they were shooting that a while. I think.
It wasn't I Can Only Imagine, because that was before.
No. It was the something.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
though.
you know what I mean. But I went over there where they were shooting in that location where there was it was kind of like an older town. It was like an old West town that still had big murals of like old Coca-Cola ads and old pharmacy ads.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That area was cool. So yeah, it was very like antique-y vibe over there. Yeah, but I liked it a lot.
that's our stuck in time area.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
That is very slowly. Like I went there. My wife had a concert there, and it's just kind of funny going to that small town. But they also have a couple weed shops at this point. So it's just like small town, small town. Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joining the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Yep. The progressive old stuck in time town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool. Yeah. No, Oklahoma was fun, man. It was a cool spot.
Now, I'm curious, since you've kind of been in a lot of different markets. Like, what was your how would you compare the Oklahoma film industry to the industries that you find in like LA or Albuquerque, like that kind of larger markets and stuff?
Sure. I mean, well, there you go. See you later. good talking to you. No, so LA is LA, man. LA has like everything, obviously, and it's like it's the biggest market, I think, currently still probably in the film as far as film goes. And so there's just everything there. You know, you have an abundance of crew, you have an abundance of equipment, you have an abundance of locations, of studios, of all that stuff. So it's hard to compare that to to any other market. But yeah, Oklahoma, like, you know, it was, and also the budget, you know what I mean? Like if we were shooting like like the Avengers or something in Oklahoma, I'm sure that there would have been tons of crazy equipment, huge crews, you know what I mean? All that stuff. So we were working with a small crew, it was very, very indie, you know, it was super, like, which was really fun because there was a lot of people working hard and like the success of it depended on everybody's, you know, camaraderie and cohesiveness, so to speak. You know what I mean? It was kind of like we had to work with what we had. I remember the truck died like the very last day of shooting.
Oh,
you know,
dude.
like it's like stuff like that like, you know, you just kind of got to roll with, you know, and like, or like certain locations falling through, or like, you know, stuff that, you know, little things happening here and there. But yeah, it was a very like kind of gritty passion project, you know.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun, man. And then Albuquerque is it's another, it feels like Los Angeles out here, because it actually like kind of seems like similar to this place called Burbank in LA.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like a Southwest weird, and in a good way weird, like Burbank out here. And then but yeah, for sure they're shooting so much stuff out here, and they have like, you know, the studios and stuff. And so yeah, so it's interesting being out here. It's kind of like in Boston I felt kind of similar in Boston, because Boston's kind of coming up and they have a big studio out there, New England studios, and they have a lot of locations and a lot of things film out there. So yeah, so Oklahoma just felt it just felt like a smaller version, you know. It just kind of felt like a you know, a small town version of the big stuff. So
yeah,
but there's quality people, you know. It was a quality project. I don't really remember any big snafus where I was ever like, fucking Oklahoma, you know, like you know, this, like what
we
the hell
didn't
these
have a
people?
lot of divas on set. It was nice.
No, it was good. It was a
guy you had.
Except for that one sound guy who was
that
sitting on his box waiting around.
He was so weird too. Yeah, he kept like, you know, like, yeah, he was a weird guy.
Such a dick.
This guy keeps going over to me and like trying to bite me or something. But
yeah.
He's trying to
keeps
touch me.
Puts the mic in my crotch area, and it's the first time I've ever had the mic down there. But I guess that's how they do it.
Yeah, you know, it's
you do it in Oklahoma.
Okay. Yeah.
Now you've been on a lot of larger sets, like, you know, for the listeners, you know, you just look up this fella's IMDb. Alex MacNicoll, you've been on The Fifth Wave with Chloe Grace Moretz. Like you've been on Transparent with Jeffrey Tambor, and just a ton of different movies. For some reason, I had it in my brain that you were in Vikings.
No, that's a different Alex.
I don't know why. I think I saw your Instagram and you were in like a Viking-ish outfit or something.
Oh yeah, that was in Ukraine. That was a movie actually that's going to be coming out hopefully later this month or next month. It's premiering actually on the 9th in Ukraine, because it's a Ukrainian story, but we shot the thing in English, and so it's going to be an international. You know, we're hoping for like an international type of market, but I don't know when it'll premiere in America or how it will, like if it'll be streaming or theatrical or whatever. But no, but that's definitely a Viking vibe. It took place in like 1241 AD. We had like swords and spears and horses and, you know, all that stuff. And but no, Vikings would have been cool. Alexander Ludwig is on Vikings. Maybe he's the other Alex.
He's the other Alex.
Yeah, and we have a similar type.
I declare it. He's your sworn enemy. He took your Vikings role.
That's right, Alex. If you're listening,
you son of a bitch.
Monday night. I'll see you there. Yeah, you know what's funny? I'm actually up for a movie right now that shoots next month, and he's actually one of the roles in it. He's one of the main roles.
Oh, so, no kidding.
Yeah, I would love to work with him. So we'll see. But,
put on your Viking outfits and duel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew I should have kept that stuff. I knew I should have kept my wolf skin and my shields.
So what's one, like, since you've been on all these other larger sets and stuff, like comparing to the lower budget projects, how'd you compare those two? Like, what are the differences just right out the gate?
I think, I mean, the noticeable ones, like the off camera stuff is like catering. You know what I mean? It's like there's such an abundance and exorbitant amount of like food and crap at Crafty on the big budget stuff. There's a lot of waste, you know, a lot of wasted food, a lot of wasted everything. So some of it's unnecessary. Obviously, like the trailers and, like, you know, the makeup trailers, the wardrobe trailer, like all that stuff. You know, obviously, if it's a bigger budget, you know, you have bigger, nicer things, and yeah, and then like we were saying, like on the big stuff, like a bigger crew, you know, crazier camera equipment. You know, you see like jibs and cranes and drones. Yeah. Oh my. You see
just all over the place.
It's just crazy. No, yeah, it's just bigger. It's, you know, it's the same thing but bigger. And also I think timing too, you know what I mean? It seems like there's sometimes it's still chaotic because, you know, you're still trying to do much stuff, but also, you know, on a lower budget stuff, you know, you're trying to be economic with all your shots. You know, you're trying to, you know, maybe steal shots when you can, and, you know, and try to maybe knock out different coverage in a more efficient manner, whereas, you know, on a big budget, that the sky's the limit. You know, you might just kind of take a little more time and, you know, mess around and stuff. So yeah, you know. So
do you feel like that has an effect on the process of acting between those two, like low budget versus high budget?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's also personal to the people around, you know. It's like all it's different in every time, but yeah, I think there's definitely a more valuable, precious, you know, kind of feel when you're like, oh, I might only get 2 shots of this on my coverage, or I might only get, you know, 3 or 4 takes total. Whereas like on a big budget thing, you might get like 15 takes, or you might get, you know what I mean? It's like different coverage. So yeah, so there's definitely, I think, a heightened, I don't know, but it's that thing. It's like you try to bring it to the table on whatever kind of budget you're on. You know, it's like you want to do your best, you want to work your hardest and stuff. But at the same time, it's like there's definitely maybe a more urgent's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. But there's definitely a more there's just this economic and kind of is expedient the word? I don't know if expedient's the word.
We can make it the word.
Let's make it the word.
Yeah, there's a feel to it because, you know, because you're limited on time, and you want to do the best you can with what you got, and that's what's really cool about it too, because that's what I think why people love indie movies and art house stuff, is because there is a very unique and precious. It's like a handmade thing, you know what I mean? It's like a beautiful little handmade gift that you've gotten, or a work of art, rather than a big something that a machine made, you know. And
right. Much less corporate feeling and all that.
Yeah. So
now I've got a technical question, just because I'm curious as a crew member. How many pages on like the Fifth Wave? Like, what was the average page count that you guys would shoot on a day?
Oh man, I try to. I mean, specifically for that film, that was a while ago. So like I kind of forget, but it was a pretty good amount. You know what I mean? It was like It's different because, so something like that, we had a lot of days where there would be big units. So like where we'd have like, you know, a bus exploding, or like a helicopter landing, or like, you know, stuff like that. So those type of things, you know, maybe we shot less pages for that day. Maybe it was just like one scene, you know what I mean? But and then they'd always have, you know, multiple crews, like a splinter crew that was shooting all the BT, like, you know, B footage, or like, you know, getting specific stunt stuff that people didn't need to be there for on that day. But yeah, usually they would crank it out. It's funny, it all depends. It depends on the crew and the filmmakers, because I know, you know, I've worked on big budget stuff where you might shoot maybe like 3 pages for the whole day.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and just because they're like, yeah, we have a big budget and this is whenever like if people are available and, you know, we can shoot, you know, they might shoot for 9 hours or 10 hours rather than, you know, cranking out a 16, 17-hour day, you know, trying to shoot like 9, 10 pages or whatever, you know. So
see, and that's when you know that you've made it.
Yeah.
When you can shoot for 9 hours in one day, call it a day, and you've
And get
shot
everything you
3
need.
pages,
Yeah.
and you're good.
We've blown up 3 helicopters,
Yeah.
14 drones. We're good.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah.
I was the other thing that like I was always blown away by, like on the larger budget stuff that I've worked on, like on True Detective, there were like 5 cameras in play at the same time for some of those scenes. And with low budget stuff, like you just don't see that.
No.
You got
Like
A and B cam.
Yeah. It's nuts. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's just, it's funny because it's like which is better, which is more. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes like it's hard to say. It just it's like, you know, you get quality products both ways, but seeing somebody able to pull off a movie with just one camera or like maybe 2 on certain scenes and, you know, a crew of like 15 people, and then rather than, you know, 100 or, you know, 50, however many, it's like, I don't know. It's just, it like makes you think. It's like, you know, what's, you know, I don't know. It's all so subjective and personal.
So what's the appeal to you on the indie level? You know, because you know you're in a full range of stuff, and like I just saw you in a commercial the other day, and I was like, hey, it's Alex.
The HPV one.
I think it was something like that. Because I was so distracted by seeing your face that I couldn't remember what the product was.
Yeah, because I did an HPV vaccine that's been airing for like years, and like
nice.
That's like my main my bread and butter, and also like my most record. Like I have people that come up to me and they're like, did you go to like, you know, like Northridge or like whatever area I'm in, and I'm like, no. I'm like, but I'm an actor, and they're like, oh, okay, and I'm like, have you ever seen this show? And they're like, nah. I'm like, oh, have you ever seen this movie? And they're like, nah. And I'm like, ah, shit. And then I know it's like they recognize me from the HPV vaccine.
HPV guy.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the HPV guy.
Yeah. but also the Progressive commercial though too is airing right now, and that was fun to do too.
I think that's what it was that I saw. I think it was the Progressive one.
Yeah, that was a fun with the motor.
Progressive one, the one in where they're like get Progressive and don't get HPV.
Yeah. We should. That's a good idea.
Progressive insurance is covering all sorts of things nowadays. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's capitalism. They're just gonna join up like Comcast. It's gonna like Gardasil and Progressive merge.
Right.
Or Merck and yeah.
So for you, like as an artist, like what's the appeal of these indie movies?
Usually it's just a more intimate experience. It's a more, you know what I mean? It's like you really get to like you're working with the like, you know, the people around you in such a like kind of like we got to figure out that word. I got to figure out that word for it because there's something really precious about it. You know what I mean? It's like you're really not trying to waste any shots. You're not trying to waste anybody's time. You know, everybody's trying to work hard to create this thing, and you know, usually people are there because they believe in the project. They believe in the script. You know, because obviously it's like the money's lower. So, but so there's something special about it. There's something very, you know, it's just it's like I don't know. I keep going back to the handmade thing. It's kind of like there's just something about it's like you're putting your actual. Not that you don't put your blood, sweat, and tears into the bigger budget stuff. You obviously do, but it's like there's something more personal about it, I guess. You know. And so like when it doesn't work, it really doesn't work, you know, like if people like, if people don't get along, then it's like you're fucked. But when people do get along, it's really special because everybody kind of creates this thing, and you know you really put the work in, and you know, so I don't know. So I guess that's the vibe, and then usually it's like you're only kind of the director and the you know however many producers are on it are really the people that you're kind of, you know, that like it's like you have more almost creative collaborative freedom, you know, because you can make some choices or you know you can suggest certain things, and usually it's more of a collaborative process than on the bigger stuff. Usually maybe like you're like, oh, don't do this or don't do that, or like, you know, we're trying to hit this demographic, or we're trying to hit, you know, we're trying, you know, like it seems more there's a little bit more controlledness to the bigger stuff, which can be good and it can be bad both times. But yeah, I think that's the appeal though for the indie stuff is that you get it feels at least like there's a little more creative collaboration at play.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
awesome.
So, yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Here's an interesting actory question. So speaking to the producers and directors out there that have no budget, but they've got an actor that's been in larger stuff, like yourself.
Like Gardasil commercials and Merc ads.
We got
right.
the HPV guy.
We got him.
Yeah.
What are some tips that you would give those, lower budget director producers of what not to do? Like from the perspective of an actor coming in, you flew into Oklahoma, you're on this, lower budget set.
So everything's already in play, like everybody's signed up to do it, or is this like you're not talking about like trying to get an actor to do a project, like a low budget thing?
Well, let's start with that.
Okay.
Like starting off with like trying to get that actor on board.
Yeah, the incentive is always like, obviously money is a big incentive, but then it's like the other part of it is like, is the story great? Will they like the story? And do they fit the role, and is it something that they might like to do? Because that's a huge selling point. It's like, if you're going after an actor or an actress that you really think would be so perfect for the role, it's really just in the pitch. You know what I mean? It's like being like it's a sale in a way. It's like a car salesman being like, this is, but with a beautiful dream rather than a metal box on wheels. It's like
right.
So it's huge. So finding the right person, and that's how these things get made. That's how these big actresses and actors will do these small things, because they really, if the story is great and if the role is really special and they really like it, then they'll do it, and then they'll figure out a way to like, then they'll get paid on the back end rather than getting paid up front, which is kind of a great thing in a lot of ways for everybody. It kind of, in a way, it kind of makes sense. It's like if everybody just got a rate, and then if the movie made a lot of money, then you got paid more money. Or if the movie didn't make a lot of money, you don't get, instead of like paying people like $300,000 up front and then having them go down and kind of phone it in, and then whatever. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's kind of like the same idea with sports. It's like, do you pay people like based on their performance, or do you just do the whole based on the projected performance?
Right.
So yeah, but so I think that's important. Is just, it's all on the pitch. It's all on the bonding and the relationship between whoever's making the film and who the artist that they're going after. So,
nice. And then once you get on that set, like Nick and I have been on plenty of sets with.
Look at this guy stretching over here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get it.
Stretching out those ankles. That's Denny Love. That's Denny Love, by the way. Looking for Alaska, coming out in a few weeks.
Nice.
I think. Yeah.
Danny Love, Looking for Alaska.
Denny Love. I mean, he's been on other stuff too, but Looking for Alaska is a big one that's about to come out on Hulu.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, and then so as far as like when you get down there, what not to do is like, you want everyone to be as comfortable as possible. With crew too, which is why it's like, it's always it sucks hearing stories about like crew getting put up in like a shady motel with like cockroaches and shit for the night. You know what I mean? Rather than everybody get. You know what I mean? It's like because it's like, if everybody's comfortable, they're all gonna work. They're all gonna. Chances are they're going to do their best work. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, and that's why catering is so important. That's why the food is so important. It's like, you want people eating properly, and you want people just being rested and energized and ready to work and inspired, rather than angry and frustrated and annoyed and uncomfortable. So, So the thing not to do would be, you don't want to put people like in uncomfortable situations or positions, So it's like, so take care of everybody, It's like, as producers, it's like, that's why it's like, hats off to producers that are, that take care of everybody, because I believe in that. Like, if you create an environment where people are comfortable and where they're going to be inspired and where they're, it's a healthy working environment, like you don't, they're like, you tell everybody like right off the bat that, this is a no harassment fucking zone. You know what I mean? It's like, we're all working here together. We're all going to work hard. We're all going to, show up for each other to work hard. And then in my, what I can provide in return for that is a comfortable living arrangement, is good food, things like whatever I can, like craft services that people like, like find out like what the crew likes to eat, what people like to eat. And, accommodate people. It's like, it's the penny wise, dollar foolish thing. It's like sometimes you work on projects where they try to save money and skimp out on certain things, and it ends up just creating a ripple effect and a big crack that just kind of doesn't go away,
Preach. Preach.
Yeah, well, no, but seriously, but it's easier said than done too. It's like, it's hard to do, but yeah, so that's the main thing, is like, we want people to be comfortable. So it's not like pampering people, It's like, it sucks when, people get down there and, one person's getting 5-star treatment and everybody else is getting 2 stars. Like, that's kind of fucked up, It's like, but you want everybody you want to find that happy medium, you want to, put everybody in a comfortable position. So, and it can be done. It's obviously harder with a lower budget, but you just find a way, you figure it out, so yeah.
What's your go-to craft service order? Or just
my craft? I love crafty. I'm a craftaholic. I like M&Ms. I like peanut M&Ms. A big thing that I've been trying to hope for and trying to go towards is the whole getting rid of single-use plastics, because it's such a waste on big movie sets. So the water bottles is a big thing. It's like, it's trying to figure out a way that everybody can kind of enjoy and stay hydrated, but without wasting all that freaking plastic.
The thing that drives me nuts on set is with the plastic bottles where people take like one drink and then they set it down and they didn't mark it. And then you got like a full bottle of water being thrown away.
Wasted,
mark your bottles, people.
Mark your bottles, and bring your own bottle. You know what I mean? Like, get a water bottle and just get a carabiner and snap it on your belt, or or just have a lunchbox, or I don't know, something. There needs to be a better way. And it's simple. It's such a simple fix, but it's just, for some reason, it's just annoying and hard for people. But yeah, and also, like, we had this baked brie up in I worked this job in Boston, and like the crafty guys there, they would make this baked brie and they would change it up. So sometimes it would have fruit in it, or sometimes it would have nuts in it, or something. It would have different stuff. But that was delicious. So it's always fun and exciting for like the local whatever the craft people are making, that they make something special on the day, or like if it's a Friday and they make something. Those are always fun. So
that's awesome.
But candy's probably the biggest go-to. Yeah.
So okay, I gotta ask, because we wouldn't be an entertaining podcast if we didn't at least get a little bit of fun stories from the set. Like, what do you have, without naming names? Do you have any examples of some shit shows that you've been on?
Yeah, I did a very, very large budget comedy TV series that's been on the air for over 10 years, and this was one of my very first gigs in Los Angeles, and I was basically a featured extra, and I had a scene where I was like gonna dance, and I was in a kilt basically. I wasn't wearing a shirt. I was just wearing a kilt, and the idea was kind of like a Scottish Chippendales dancer, basically. And
nice.
And
welcome to LA.
Yeah. But this is a really hilarious show, and it's a really well done show, and it's but without naming names and stuff. But it was so we were a small featured part of the episode. But anyway, long story short, I was standing in craft services where I hang out, as I do. And I was the only one around, so I'm just wearing a kilt. I've got no shirt on, just a kilt and boots. And one of the main actresses in it is a very beautiful woman and a very established, super well-known actress. And she comes walking over, and she's in a wrapped up in a bed sheet, because in the scene she's basically in a hotel room, and like she's in a bed sheet as like part of it. And so she comes walking over, and so basically she's wearing a bed sheet and I'm wearing a kilt. And that's it, So so in my mind, and we're the only ones there. There's nobody else around. And so in my mind, I was like, oh well, like I'm gonna make a joke about this, and just because I'm just to talk. So like she comes walking over, and I'm like, hey, like haha, like you and me we're basically wearing the same thing. And then she like looks at me and is like, huh? And I'm like, oh, like you and me, like I'm like pointing to my kilt and pointing to the bed sheet, and they're like, oh, we're hot, we're kind of wearing the same thing, I know it was stupid, but it was also like whatever, just like I'm just trying to make conversation, and then she looks at me and she goes like, no, and she turns and makes a beeline back to set, like back to where the producer. Well, no, but and the thing was, and then I was like, oh my god, I was like, what I don't understand, like what the hell happened, like am I like what? I was like kind of taken aback, and I was like, I didn't know if she actually didn't understand me, because she is from another country, but like also I was
Ah,
or I was like maybe she thought I was like maybe like trying to come on to her just because she's beautiful and like, you know, and people probably do that all the time.
yeah,
But like I was
yeah.
legitimately just standing in line with nobody else around being like, hey, I'm, you know, like, let's shoot the shit. Like, I'm, you know, look, isn't this funny that we're both basically
Yeah.
wearing a towel, like, you know? And so yeah, so then I was like, oh man, so that was really annoying and awkward and weird.
You're like,
and like
it was funny, damn it.
yeah, but then and then yeah, and it was like, you know, so that was kind of like one of my first kind of odd moments, and I was like
Yeah.
embarrassed, and then so I like had my burrito and I was in my kilt and I just like went back to holding and like just like sat there and like felt really uncomfortable the rest of the
Right.
shoot.
Who's that
Yeah.
Scottish guy eating his
Yeah.
in the corner?
Yeah, look at that weirdo. Yeah, so that was something. And then I don't know, I mean, like other crazy stuff on set, like I mean, you know, there's like so the fifth wave, you brought up the fifth wave before. We were doing a scene where we're running through the street and we're in like military garb, and the street's kind of like apocalyptic looking, you know, because of the whole alien attack and stuff. And so there's like newspapers and garbage all over the street, and it was cold. It was like I think November, December in Atlanta, and then so we are basically like my last shot ever. Like I was gonna finish shot and like I was basically wrapped. And we do a scene where I'm running around the street with the group of kids that we're all in our military, you know, gear, and we have our little, you know, guns and stuff. And I turned the corner like doing a full sprint, and I guess my foot stepped on like a page of a magazine or something, and it just like I freaking like my feet flew out from under me, and I like landed right on my elbow, and like it was like on the hard cold concrete.
No.
And I was,
Ow.
yeah, and I was, and then so like I got, like, and it was all on camera, like it was all we were shooting. So like, but like it was just like the most embarrassing, shitty way to like end a movie job.
And that's
like,
a picture wrap.
Yeah, and now I'm like holding my broken elbow, and I'm like, oh, thanks everybody. Like, oh, like, yeah. So like I was that was awkward stuff.
Oh, jeez.
And there's tons of stuff, you know, that always there's always something that happens. That's also the fun about what we do is kind of like, you know, there's just mistakes are made, bloopers happen, and usually it's really funny. Sometimes it's tragic. Sometimes like people really get hurt, which sucks. But also like sometimes it's really funny, and you know.
Well, and that reminds me, you were quite the trooper on Sleeping in Plastic whenever one of our other co-hosts, Neil Newby, just
Neil's
decked you in the face. Yeah.
Yeah,
He just like clocked you right in the face. They gave you a nice shiner.
Yeah, do me a favor and punch him in the nuts for me when he comes on next. Yeah,
that'll be next time I see him.
Yeah, that was a good story too, because that was like, again, we're shooting like this low budget, you know, so we're like, you know, every day is important, every day counts, like, you know, it's like really, really, you know, tight schedule. And like, yeah, we were doing this wrestling scene, and he and I were going to be like the two wrestlers grappling, and we wanted to make it look real, but we were like, oh, let's just kind of go with the flow, let's just kind of feel it out to make it like organic and kind of like real, instead of choreographing it, which looking back on it's like we should have choreographed it. That's why we get fight choreographers.
You're right.
And so yeah, so like, you know, like we did this move where like, you know, he kind of like, I kind of pushed him down and he dropped down, but then he tried to like pop back up or kind of flail with his head, and my head was like right above his, and so the back of his head just kind of like a seal, like almost, yeah, just like right into my eye socket or my orbital, whatever that is. And then I remember like we did that, and I was like, I felt like, you know, like I was like, and I was like, you know, it was a real quick flash, and I was kind of like, okay, it's all good, go with it. And then like, you know, we're on camera, we're still rolling, and so like we're rolling around, and then you know, we finished the wrestling sequence, and then they like, you know, they all cut, and then I remember I just like kind of like we both kind of got up, and then everybody was like, and then I was like, and my eye felt like but you know when you get hit in the face with a ball, and like, you know, like a soccer ball or something, and like your face feels like flat. It was kind of like this part of my face felt kind of like smushed, but I kind of was like, oh, it's just because it's like, you know, it's a fresh, you know, smack in the face. But then like I'm like looking around and everybody's like, oh my god, and then I was like, what? And then they're like, your thing, and then so like we kind of like I went over and I got to see in like a mirror or whatever. I think with Tony Marlowe, I think she had like a little like in the makeup and stuff, and like I had a full hematoma like coming out of my eyebrow. It was
you
like
had
big,
a straight shiner.
Yeah, but it looked kind of like this, and it was just like kind of on my face. I was like, what? And then we were all kind of like, well, and this was like one of the first days of filming. It was like within the first week.
Oh yeah.
So like everybody, the producers were all like, whoa, so like, what do we do now? Like now we're gonna have to keep this look going. And so the makeup team, fortunately, did a great job because they had to then for the rest of it kind of like match it and like, you know, make a prosthetic hematoma and like a big bumpy bruise and color it differently and change the color for the rest of the film. So hats off to them. But that was another fun, like silly, crazy thing that happened. And then being a low budget.
Neil felt so bad. I'm pretty sure he was afraid he was gonna get fired.
I mean,
he was like brought the movie to a screeching halt.
Yeah. That was like he probably felt like how I felt when I did the craft services when I was in my burrito and my kilt. Like, yeah, it was like I was like, oh, I'm gonna get fired. This is weird. Like, yeah, no, but it was fine, and it actually kind of added to the. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it again. Maybe like, you know, maybe we watch it and we're like, oh fuck this, you know, what happened there. But I think it added to it because then it was just kind of like, you know, I don't know, it was just real. You know, it was like it was an added realistic edge to the film. So, and it was fun. Yeah.
I've always liked that about like kind of the improvisational aspect of like the lower budget stuff of like, oh shit. Now he has this thing. Now we gotta roll with it. Gotta figure out. Gotta, you know, trial and error.
Yeah. No, it's a very organic process. It's a very like I love that too about it. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, man, we're gonna let you get back to doing some rock climbing.
All right, cool.
Where can we find you guys, or where you guys? Actually, you know what? Yeah, you guys. Where can we find you guys online and keep up with Sleeping in Plastic? Keep up with you and the magnificent jogger.
Well, so that's Denny Love. His Instagram is Denny Love for real, and he's on Instagram, and I'm sure he's on Tinder and Raya and all the other dating apps. I think no, but I'm on my Instagram is basically it's probably the thing I use the most. I have a Facebook, but I don't really use it that much. But my Instagram is just Alex ALEX _ MacNicoll MacNicoll. It always sounds like the Mickey Mouse Club theme. But yeah, that's what I'm on social. That's the only thing I use really on social media. I don't have a Twitter, any of that. But yeah.
Honestly, good for you.
but
God bless you.
The Sleeping in Plastic has an Instagram too. It's just I think it's just Sleeping in Plastic, and then Van, the director, he has his Instagram, and he has his company called Go Pop Films, I think.
Yeah.
And and his Instagram is Run Van Run, and so he puts up a bunch of great content. But dude, it's really exciting, man, because it's gonna premiere at Austin Film Fest on the 24th, and then it's gonna also open at the Lone Star Film Festival, I think it's called, in Fort Worth. And that'll be in November, I think. And then also in October, it's going to premiere internationally or have its Spain premiere or whatever at the Mallorca Film Festival, which is a really cool festival. And so, so it's really exciting. It's having a fun little festival run right now. So hopefully we get more festivals and hopefully people like it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Your awesome black eye in it.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny because now I'm like having all these memories, and it is going to be interesting to see how that all looked and all the makeup and stuff. Yeah, so because it felt real and it looked kind of real while we were doing it. So
it sure looked real from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but it was fun, man. It was a blast, and I wonder if they're gonna have some kind of premiere, some kind of screening in Oklahoma, because that'd be really cool if they did.
I sure hope so, because I'd love to see it.
Yeah. And, well, dude, go down to Austin, man, for the film fest.
I think I might have to. That sounds like it would be really fun.
Yeah. You know, and there's a bunch of other great little films down there. There's Terrence Malick's got a film that's going to be playing there. And Honey Boy's going to be there. I don't know if you're like a Shia LaBeouf fan, but he's got a film.
Honey Boy, is that the one with he's like the ex-con or something?
So I think it's like it's like the dad. It's a father-son story, I think. And it's
okay.
It's but he might be an ex-con. He might have. I think he might have done some time or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, there's a bunch of cool films going on down there. So if you can make it down there, I mean, I know it's a little bit of a trip for you coming from Oklahoma all the way to Austin.
It's a train ride. It's no problem.
Yeah. So think about it. But but I would say just stay posted if anybody's interested to get on Instagram and check out Sleeping in Plastic, because they keep that updated with all the details and
nice.
Yeah, man.
Well,
man.
dude, thanks so much for lending us your time.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. I'm glad we finally got to do this. I know it's been a couple weeks in the making. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But it was fun, man. It was nice to meet you, Nick. Happy birthday again. Hey, but I'm looking forward to the next time we get to work, whether it's in Oklahoma or Albuquerque or wherever.
That's right.
So one of these days.
Albuquerque, we'll meet up there.
Yeah.
Dude, but I'm telling you, man, not to pull you away from Oklahoma, but like Albuquerque's got a great scene, man. But you know, just get, you know, all you gotta do is get the call the governor and you know, have them bring those incentives to Oklahoma. And no, because Oklahoma's a great spot to shoot. So I'm hoping they get more films there. I'm hoping they get more, you know, incentives and everything, because it is a great community. So we'll see. Yeah.
It was.
Man.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, man.
It was my pleasure, man. So well, good talking to you, and until the next time.
All righty.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye. Back to the cardio.
Back to cardio.
All right. See you guys.
See you later, man.
Bye.
Okie Show.